We can say with confidence that a secret space program definitely exists.
Do you believe the government has technology today that is using science that we don't know?
They developed this technology that will allow them to recruit them around age 17, put them on a separate timeline for 20 years in service in space, and then at the end of their 20-year service duty, they age reverse and time reverse them back to their point of enlistment.
It's crazy to think, how did they put together something like this?
I lived on Ceres for probably 12 years, and it's in between Mars and the asteroid belt.
Have you ever come back to planet Earth?
We came back to Earth often. We came and picked up cargo and dropped off delivered cargo to subterranean places once or twice a month. The ship had several modes of transportation. It could fly A to B very quickly, and it could fly instantaneously. It could make its own wormhole.
What is memory removal?
It's going into the pineal gland of the brain with a tool, and you can disrupt that energy and remove that energy from the brain.
That you remember, where was the spaceship built?
I remember it was built with a retro engineering with human and extraterrestrial technology.
We have a great amount of video evidence and astronaut testimony. Just because the government refuses to acknowledge this doesn't make it go away.
Do you believe the government has anti-gravity propulsion that we don't know anything of?
The equipment back in the 50s could have achieved similar results to the things we're trying to replicate here in the lab. In a sense, your iPhone has more advanced technology than what it takes to manipulate gravity. It's just a totally different area of science that hasn't been properly researched.
Have you ever been to a Jumpgate or a Stargate?
We were on a base inside the moon that had access to a great power output. We went to a building in Chicago and then back. What I was told was that it took a great deal of power, that even Ceres Colony did not have a system like that. The other thing that was speculation that was in conversation was that it was made out of exotic materials that are found as you get closer to the center of the galaxy, and that extraterrestrials control those elements and actually use them for trade for their own benefit. There isn't really a universal currency, it's technology that they can trade knowledge. So there were times that we traded goods and we traded things for just mathematical equations.
Why are they interested in us?
Firstly, it's their job to protect cultures like ours, who are in development and threatened by other extraterrestrial species. They do not only help Earth, they help other cultures who are threatened by off-world invaders. Humans of Earth have different DNAs that have been injected into our DNA along the history of Earth, and they want to preserve this, and this attracts a lot of regressive ETs. The strongest and the more clever will survive and maintain the species in the optimum capacities.
The battery technology is definitely a game changer, but just imagine if you had a zero-point energy device that you plug into your car. You don't even need to have a battery. You can run the vehicles on water so they don't pollute.
Where does the design for the device come from?
Well, the design of it was originally in the SSB. I've changed it slightly to make it more gentle and used for healing. This is the device similar to what they would use.
This lie has been going on since at least the Second World War. We're talking 80 years now. Governments need to maintain credibility. So once you start lying, you've got to keep that lie going. You have to keep doubling down.
Gravity control sounds like a science fiction movie. How did you get interested?
Oh, well, I was reading this science fiction novel that everyone's reading. It's called The Bible. So the logical conclusion for me was that this was alien spacecraft and alien intervention on Earth. That just comes to show this technology is accessible. It's real. It's just physics.
There were several systems that created artificial gravity and could turn it down. So on Ceres Colony, the entire colony, every inch of this is powered for the artificial gravity.
You basically went to the typical terrifying alien abduction where you were taken for experimentation. But this other crew saved you.
I was taken through a portal. The ship, in fact, had an interdimensional leap, and I lost consciousness, so I don't recall how long it was, unfortunately.
The largest portion of secret space activity is corporate, not government. We live in a world in which we usually only learn the truth about something when it becomes irrelevant. But we might want to ask, how safe is some of this technology. Do I want it shared willy-nilly if it allows someone to blow up half of a continent or an ocean? Because what if that is the case?
But what is the scientific idea behind this gravity control?
If you want to get rid of the inertial mass, you first need to figure out where the mass comes from in the first place. And when we see these flying saucers, they're capable of insane stunts like doing a 90-degree turn at 10,000 miles an hour. But there's one thing they can't do. They can't do a barrel roll.
Can you communicate telepathically, or is the being that is capable to read your brain?
We had a translating device implanted, much like what we're seeing now being developed in Neuralink. The reason I remember the implant is because it worked with the same range of Bluetooth, the translators. The command staff would speak primarily in German, which I did not know, and they would turn it on and off. So when they wanted to speak privately amongst themselves and not have guys like me listen, they would turn off the translator.
I would like to go back for a second to this aging aspect. Like, what is the technology behind this?
So I'm in this acrylic tube and the needle's going in, into my bones, into certain areas, certain organs, and it caused rapid growth.
Are there inhabitants on Venice?
They live in underground cities because it's not livable on the surface.
How big is a typical city in Venice?
I have visited one, and I can speak about this one only. There was a valley with an artificial holographic sky and artificial sun. I was shown Earth in 100 years from now, and nature is repairing and regenerating. The architecture of 100 years in the future is in perfect balance with nature. The towns have a lot of green spaces and trees.
We have the fly saucers, the sky by day in the light.
The vision of the Jetsons, I don't believe is going to happen because these technologies produce radiation, stuff that will affect your body. You don't want to be near them on the outside.
We will discuss above top secret technological developments at the first Silicon Valley Conference on Secret Space Technology Business Applications. Experiencees and witnesses of advanced technologies will present how they have interacted with innovations and discoveries far beyond our current reality, but one day possibly becoming our reality. In this conference, we will discuss the futuristic civilian applications of these technologies to our economy. It is about time that we start challenging our current beliefs and limitations and start to envision a more advanced civilization for us and our children. One day, we may be using some of these secret space technologies to build viable civilian business applications.